Welcome to Measurably Better Learning, the podcast built for learning and development professionals. Whether you're an instructional designer, L&D professional, or corporate leader, get ready for insights and ideas that will transform your approach to learning, training, and development. So let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to the Measurably Better Learning podcast. Today, it's my my honor and my joy to ask some questions of my friend and colleague Miriam Taylor, who has been for several decades heavily involved in learning, training, and development at all different adult levels. And our topic for today is the learning leader as a skills developer. And so, let's just start maybe with your own team. How do you build the skills of the learning team that you have the honor of leading?
Yeah, I mean, I think to start with, it felt a little strange to begin because, when you move your way up through an organization, at some point at the beginning, you're doing a lot of those tasks yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember the first time the team implemented a software that I'd not used, and I'm like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And you question, can you be a leader if you don't know how to use this tool? And to a certain degree, I do think it's important to stay in touch, at least to understand the basics and at least limitations, so you don't
Yeah.
propose things to clients or to your internal business units that can't be done. But I honestly would say, like, I was blessed to have talented people on my team.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways that I sort of worked to develop them was we've talked about this in other podcasts, but giving them time to play a little bit,
Mhm.
giving them a sandbox. Didn't have to be a ton of time all the time, but recognizing what their gifts and abilities were and turning them loose to further develop those.
Yeah.
They love that. So they're happy and grateful, and then they're going to share it with everyone else. And, really that's helping you because you don't have to be the expert anymore.
Yeah.
But they're learning and growing in different ways.
That you don't have to be the expert anymore.
Right.
That's a challenge.
It is.
And, you've started some companies, I have too, and at first you do everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there comes a weird moment where the people that work for you know more
Mm-hmm.
about X than you know. And if you're smart, you will hire those people
Yeah, absolutely.
specifically.
Right. Absolutely.
But it there's a weird trust thing you have to learn, and it's almost like parenting,
Mm.
right? There comes a point, and you've got children, and so do Mary and I, and you're like, wait, just let them
That's right.
let
Never
them
mind.
figure it out,
Yep.
right? Let
Yep.
them don't
Yep.
don't touch that.
Yep.
Hard to do, and there's a bit of a trust issue. So how do you make that transition into uh, somebody who is committed to developing the skills of the people around you?
Yeah, there is a trust issue there. But two things. One, I still remember it was an aha moment for me. I handed some stuff off to someone on the team, and I honestly didn't know for sure what their skill set was. But
Mhm.
it came back to me. I felt like the little kid handing, like the crumpled dollar bills, right,
Right.
off. And what they gave me was like just blew me out of the wall. Like I
Yeah.
knew at that moment I could never replicate
Yeah.
that. So I'm like, okay, this is good. Um, but the other way that
But that's not always.
it's not, because I
Yeah,
also
that
looked
goes
at all
the
your
other
stuff
way
where I'm
too.
like,
You're
"Oh,
like,
no, this is terrible."
I
Like,
could have done that better myself,
right,
faster.
should've,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, so the funny thing is we spend all of our days, doing needs analysis with clients or on projects internally, whatever. No, we don't think about applying it to our own team, right?
Mhm.
So do a needs analysis of your team, and by that
Mhm.
is, each individual person, what are their gifts? Where are they lacking? And is it worth it to upskill them? Or
Mhm.
perhaps do we find somebody else that can augment that?
Mhm.
What are their passions? And then in the scope of the larger organization, what are the needs of the organization? And
Right.
do they line up? So then instead of guessing or like I'm hoping I'm
Yeah.
getting the right stuff, I know the exact right person to plug in different situations
And
because
we
I
know how to
understand
do
the needs.
this.
Right.
Like you say,
Right.
we know how to. I mean, this is a huge
Right.
part of our job. We know how
Right.
to do this. We just don't do it very often.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about the skills development piece too, when you care more about developing them than you do about your own success, you end up with both.
Hmm.
If you're
Mhm.
primarily concerned about your own skills and protecting your territory and keeping people out or keeping them you're not going to get either one. They're going to be very unhappy and you're not going to be very successful. I don't mean that you're using people in a utilitarian way,
No.
but you truly have their best interest
Mhm.
in mind, and your heart is really tuned to them.
Mhm.
And you're really trying to figure out how to upskill and great things happen. So, well,
Agreed.
what do you recommend before the break? What do you recommend for helping learning teams continue to grow?
First of all, by having that sort of that needs assessment and knowing
Mhm.
where they need to grow, um, like you said, then another step is to I mean, I guess maybe that begs the question really, which is, well, how do you conduct that needs assessment? Well, it can be personally one-on-one with them. It could be
Mhm.
looking at their work, but it should also be some anonymous sources, right? Like
Mhm.
letting them do some surveys where,
Mhm.
you're getting honest feedback. And then, we're going to, I think after the break, talk about
Yeah.
specifically ways that we can create personalized learning for them.
Yeah.
But to your point, the root of it is I'm more interested in seeing them grow and develop because at the end of the day, that's exciting. I get joy out of seeing them step either into something new or maybe use,
Yeah.
in an existing gift that they have, and then we all win.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that perspective is pretty common in our industry.
Agreed.
That's why we're in
Agreed.
this. We want
Right.
to, if you don't want to see other people grow, don't
Right. Oh,
don't
yeah.
be in
Don't
this,
be in.
and go find something else to
It's
do.
called
So
learning and development for a reason.
yeah, go do something else. So
Yeah.
all right, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look a little more deeply at some of the steps in enabling your team to develop the technical skills and other skills that they'll need. So we'll be right back.
Imagine a world where every training session, every learning module, and every translated document is aligned with your company's unique goals and global ambitions. Welcome to Ingenuity, where we don't just talk about elevating your corporate learning, we make it happen. At Ingenuity, we understand the heart of your business is its people. That's why we specialize in creating custom learning solutions and translation services that are not just effective, but are designed specifically for your business's global needs. Let us show you how learning cannot be just better, but measurably better, with solutions tailored just for you. Learn more in the description below.
Well, welcome back. And as promised, Miriam, we're going to take a look at sort of the next steps and in conducting. Let's maybe focus on a needs analysis.
Okay.
So what are some of the steps of doing that? For again, the focus is on your own team building their skills.
Sure. So again, I think y- to me, this is an individual activity with each person,
Mm.
unless you're leading a learning team that has like 50, 100,000 people. Well, I don't
Right.
run into those very often.
No, not
So,
too much. No.
um, but I think with your needs analysis is getting at maybe even a SWOT analysis with them, although it wouldn't have to be. But what do you see your strengths? What do you see your weaknesses? Where would you like to grow? What projects have worked for you this year? What haven't? It doesn't have to just be skills like
Yeah.
tangible technical skills. What kinds of leadership or other abilities and gifts would you like to work on? And then, as I mentioned too, I think you need to gather feedback from the larger group and review projects that they've done. And
Mhm.
um, but from that, then I try to build a personalized learning path with them. And I know that that sounds like, I've got 15 people.
Yeah.
I remember when I first did one-on-ones even, I mean, I left with a monster to-do list,
Mhm.
and that's not the way it should be.
No.
Right. So as a learning leader, my job is to maybe is to help them think it through,
Yeah.
but then say, go. I'm giving you time. Come back next time, whatever.
Right.
Have you signed up? Have you watched a couple YouTube videos? Have you signed up for a training or a class, or have you read an article?
Mhm.
And some of those things I can too. I can create if those needs assessments come back and everyone on my team needs certain things. Well, then it's the same things. It's probably on
It's
me
you. Yeah.
to create
Yeah.
some sort of
Yeah.
training that will help them all improve in that
Yeah.
area.
And there's an underlying theme I want to ask you about. If you come to me and say, "Okay, we're going to do an upskilling, we're gonna add to your skills, and I want to do a SWOT analysis with you," and I don't trust you,
Mm. Mhm.
or I don't feel like you really care about me,
Mhm.
this sounds terrifying.
That's it. Yeah. Absolutely.
It sounds like you're basically setting me up for 6 months from now when you're gonna let
walking
me
up
go.
front. Mm-hmm.
There, to do this well, and to expect honest feedback. The person, love is not too strong of a word. They have to know that you care for them deeply, and you are really committed to their success. And I've seen you do that. I know that's how you are with the people that you help. But if you can't do that and they don't trust you, this won't work in a toxic environment.
No,
because
it won't.
everybody will
Absolutely
go,
won't.
forget
Right.
it. I'm not doing that.
Right.
What do I do? Well, everything. What do I do poorly? Nothing.
Right. And if I make a mistake, I cover it up and,
Right.
all of that. And that doesn't mean that at times, as we work with someone, we discover that skills, maybe can't be upskilled.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a motivation or attitude
Yep.
issue that we just can't get past. But by and large, if you come to somebody honestly and I'm here to help you. I'm here to let's make this organization better. Let's help you grow yourself. If they feel safe, then you're going to have an environment where they'll be more honest about
That's
it.
a great word.
Yeah.
Safe.
Yeah.
So, so let's say that you've created this learning pathway, the professional development plan, and the person needs to start to deliver. What resources do you use to help them as you move through that?
Yeah. I think the thing is that because I started small with a startup and I did everything myself, you just learn to bootstrap. So there's the obvious answers like sending people to conferences or training or, things like LinkedIn learning subscriptions or all of that. But you can, you have most likely so much expertise on your own team.
Right.
Little things. Just walking by someone's desk and say, "Oh, wow, I love how you did that. Hey, would you mind showing this at
Little show
lunch
and tell.
one day?" Right. We used to do show and tell sessions, or even, "Hey, since you're doing this anyway, could you just make a quick Loom video that we could store in our archive?" Starting to curate a little library. It doesn't have to be formal. It doesn't have to be on the LMS. It can be in a Google Drive.
Right.
All those little things. I think, because honestly, most people, if you ask them to share their expertise, they want to.
They're
Which
honored.
they do. They're honored by it. Right.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be something, it can be formal, but it can also be myriads of ways to do just little informal things that create that culture of sharing and all of that.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, good. Well, thank you for your thoughts, and I appreciate your the way you've led in this in the past and the way you think about it now. So, thank you, Miriam. Before we wrap up the show, if you're looking to dive deeper, we've got tons of free downloads, L&D resources, and details about upcoming webinars that you won't want to miss. They're found in the episode description. Plus, if you ever want to chat with either one of us, now's your chance. You can find links in the episode description to connect directly with Miriam or me. We're here to answer your questions and to discuss all things learning and development. And speaking of questions, we love hearing from you. Whether it's a question or a comment or a topic you're curious about, or if you just want to join the conversation, drop us a comment on your favorite social media channel. Your input shapes our shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. It's the best way to ensure you never miss out on our latest episode. We're excited to continue to transform learning into a measurable success with you. Until next time.